Hello, and welcome back to Game Domain. Today we are bringing you guys yet another installment of our Top Sellers series, which has become arguably the channel's most popular series over the past 2 years. We've covered a wide range of consoles, but there is one that was oddly left out of the mix for a long time. It then became our due diligence to immediately get the ball rolling on having this infamous console appear in this series, and that's what brings us to today's release of Top Sellers Game Boy Edition. The original Game Boy is one of gaming's most renowned handheld consoles, and there are plenty of iconic games that sold well on this system. This console alone kickstarted both the Pokemon and Kirby franchises, which are both now considered staples in the gaming world. Let's take a look at what games get to call themselves the Game Boy's top sellers. Honorable mentions. First, we are going to look at the games that just missed out and came in the number 10 to 6 spots. Coming in at number 10 is Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, which sold 5,190,000 copies. Coming in at number 9 is Pokemon Pinball, which made its way into 5,310,000 consoles worldwide. Dr. Mario sold 5,340,000 copies to find its way into the number 8 spot. Generation 2's third title, Pokemon Crystal, finds itself at the number 7 spot with 6,390,000 copies sold, and is followed by Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins in the number 6 spot with 11,180,000 copies. Time for the real top sellers list. Number 5. Pokemon Yellow. The Pokemon anime originally aired in Japan back in 1997, just a bit over a year after the release of the original Pokemon Red and Green titles. The anime would quickly help to jolt-start the upcoming Pokemon Rules the World phase that will begin about a year later when the games became popular in the States, and so Nintendo wanted to capitalize on the popularity for the anime by making another medium where its greatness could be expressed. Pokemon Red and Green versions followed the story of the main protagonist, Red, and his quest to defeat Team Rocket and become champion of the Cantonian Pokemon League at the famed Indigo Plateau. The games were a major hit in Japan, smashing the notion that many people thought of them as being a flop to be. Nintendo then decided to combine the hits of Red and Green and the Pokemon anime into one fantastic gaming conglomerate, Pokemon Yellow version. Pokemon Yellow version follows mainly the same plot as the original Kanto titles, but instead has some hidden quirks that are specific to the Pokemon anime. For instance, you start out with Pikachu as your starter Pokemon, just like Ash did. Throughout the game, you even have the ability to obtain all 3 Kanto starter Pokemon, just like Ash did in the anime. You also come across 2 specific infamous members of Team Rocket in certain locations throughout the game, which we all know is, of course, Jesse and James. The rest of the plot is essentially the same as the original titles, so we won't get too much into that, but this game rode the popularity of its predecessors in the anime to find itself as the Game Boy's 5th top seller. Number 4. Super Mario Land. As much of a die-hard Pokemon fan as I am, it is kind of refreshing to see a different franchise appear on this handheld console's top sellers video. Nintendo's flagship franchise Mario finds one of its entries appearing on the next spot in this top sellers, as Super Mario Land is number 4. Launched back in 1989, Super Mario Land was the Mario franchise's first handheld game, coming just a few short years after the series' inception on the NES. Originally intended to be just a cash grab to sell the new Game Boy console, Super Mario Land quickly emerged as one of the series' most popular and memorable games. Super Mario Land improved drastically on some of the holes and missing elements that the previous Super Mario titles left, and it even had a fair amount of features that were unique to that game. Super Mario Land's immense popularity would result in many sequels and remakes as the years have gone on, such as Super Mario Land 2, the 6 Golden Coins in 1992, and Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3 in 1994. The game also introduced the now infamous Princess Daisy, who has since become a recurring staple in the Super Mario series, as well as now the Super Smash Bros. Series. Super Mario Land had a massive impact on not just the Super Mario gaming culture, but the Nintendo gaming culture as a whole. This game is the one that truly kickstarted Nintendo's wave of handheld popularity, as nobody can deny the impact it had on the Game Boy as a console, creating the greatest line of handheld consoles in gaming history. Super Mario Land sold its way to 4th on this list, making it the Game Boy's 4th top seller. Number 3. Pokemon Gold and Silver. The next game is an incredibly familiar face to Game Domain, as we have dissected this game's greatness in more than a few videos over the years. Pokemon Red and Blue launched one of the greatest gaming series in history, and nobody ever truly thought that the pure amazement of those games could ever be repeated. But now, it is safe to say that that amazement has been repeated more than a few times, but none quite as strong as what Generation 2's Gold and Silver were able to do. Originally supposed to be the Pokemon franchise's final games, Game Freak developers went all in to make Pokemon Gold and Silver the greatest games they possibly could. At this point, there was no vision for a continuation of the series after the release of Generation 2, right at the height of when Pokemon ruled the world. Due to the mass popularity of the original games all over the world, Game Freak and Nintendo would essentially score a fiscal victory no matter how good the game they put out on the shelves. Gold and Silver gave us a brand new region, as well as the ability to go back and explore Kanto yet again. The reason that Kanto was even included was because this was meant to be the last game in the series, and we all know that didn't hold up for very long. These games have been praised greatly by the gaming community for all these years, and we have covered these games so much that we have essentially ran out of new praise to give. Gold and Silver are among gaming's greatest sequels, and they ended their reign of gaming dominance as the 3rd top seller on the Nintendo Game Boy. Number 2. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green. This entry of top sellers has fallen into the same boat as most of the handheld episodes, being that they are dominated by Pokemon games. And as much as we love Pokemon, this console was no different. The original Pokemon games were a massive hit all over the world, and they truly began their era of dominance when they reached the States. These games pioneered the Pokemon franchise as a whole, and also helped to have a major impact on Nintendo's handheld console line for years to come. Many people grew skeptical of buying handheld consoles, as they thought a home console was much superior in every way. One of the reasons for this was the lack of new and unique franchises to handheld, and Pokemon changed that forever. It was not until 2018 that Pokemon would release a main series game on a home console, as Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee were the first of their kind. Now, it seems like Pokemon is heading down a bright future following the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, as the power of the Switch gives them a massive array of new ideas. The original Pokemon titles are just another example of games that we have talked so much about over the years, and we really feel no need to keep repeating ourselves on how good these games are and the eternal impact they had on the world of gaming. If you want to hear us talk more in depth about these titles, then check out the following videos on our channel: our Pokemon Red and Blue review, Evolution of Pokemon Documentary, and Ranking the Pokemon Games. Now, let's see which game takes home the trophy of being the Nintendo Game Boy's top seller. Number 1. Tetris. Now, some of you may be delighted at the fact that a Pokemon game does not take the top spot for this Nintendo handhelds console, as so far we have seen anything but that on the handhelds we've looked into. The game that takes the title of the Game Boy's top seller isn't really even from a major Nintendo franchise, nor is it really considered a Nintendo game at all. Nintendo's consoles are famous for having the majority of compatible games on the consoles be Nintendo exclusives, but this time doesn't quite fit that role 100%. Tetris caused a storm in the gaming world when it was released back in the late 1980s, and gamers couldn't get enough of this super enticing puzzle game developed by Nintendo's R&D 1 division of developers. Tetris made the minds of young kids really work hard, and in a rather fun way. It was a great way to let kids of that generation enjoy educational gaming that stimulated their mind to actually think and make rational decisions to influence the outcome of their game. Tetris found its way to 35 million sales worldwide and will always be known as the greatest puzzle game in the history of the world. And so with that, Tetris is the Nintendo Game Boy's #1 top seller. What did you guys think of today's top sellers? Were there any games on there that surprised you? Tell us what you thought in the comments section down below. While you're down there, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And don't forget to check out some of our more recent videos, which we will leave links in the description for, as well as our Patreon and Discord. Check out our Patreon, where you can donate to our cause and contribute to the great videos we produce. Some benefits of becoming a Patreon member include seeing future videos a day early, as well as having your name displayed at the end of our content. Our Discord is open to you guys to come and chat with our staff members and each other about gaming, so don't be afraid to join. Down in the description, we also have links to our merchandise stores, as there you can purchase an array of game domain merch ranging from mouse pads to even phone cases. Stay tuned to the channel for more great content, and thanks for watching today's episode of Top Sellers.